Hocam hoş geldiniz. Süremizde herhangi bir değişme yok. 14.40. İlk 20 dakika hocamla sunumu. Daha sonra 10 dakika soruyor. Buyurun.
Welcome to my session. My name is ERÇETİN. I'm from İstanbul'da Istanbul Science High School from Kahramanmaraş. I'm very happy and proud to be here with you and to be a part of such a great conference. And I want to start my presentation with my project-based language learning. You may hear this word. Yes, our language level, our students' language level is B1, and it is determined according to English language curriculum. And as you see here, these are our language outcomes from the 7th unit, 10th grade 7th unit. And they are related to national and international festivals. Yes, what are the reasons for creating such a technique? Because, as you know, we learn English in grammar-based language classes, and they are not very interesting, different, or enjoyable. So, when I come to this school, this science high school, I see that my students have different needs and interests. So I wanted to create a method which appeals to all different types of students, which appeals to different language levels, which appeals to the students which has different language levels and needs and interests. So I wanted to create a multi-learning environment because I wanted to go beyond the traditional English language classes. So if I do this, I may provide an opportunity among the students, and also I want to improve the quality of education and training. Project-based language learning technique is based on Gardner's multiple intelligence theory and project-based language learning approach, and this needs the students' active participation, and at the end of the process, we wanted to reach the English curriculum language objectives. And let's look at the details. What are our goals? My project-based language learning technique is similar to backward planning, because at the beginning of the process, we determine the language curriculum, the objectives of the unit, and then after this part, we design the way, we plan, and we organize the way, the activities for reaching these outcomes. And if you do this, our students become the active participants in language learning process. Our participants are 10th grade high school students, science high school students. We have 120 students here and 3 heterogeneous classes. And these classes are determined randomly at the beginning of the term, and they have different language levels and B1 level. Learning tools. This is the brain of my study. What do you see here? Lexis group, game group, drama, music, and video group. 5 groups are here. These are my project groups, and let's look at the details. What are the learning tools of Lexis and game group? If your students study with the words or the Lexis group, then they will study with the words, songs, short stories, quiz shows, realias, flashcards, posters, they will study, they will use these materials in their presentation and in their activity. What about the drama and music group? In this group, students can use music, songs, posters, again, realia, materials, animations, or songs in their presentation. And video group, as the internet becomes widespread throughout the world, and as the social media is popular among the students use mostly vlog here, and PowerPoint presentation, interviews, role plays, animations, graphics in their videos and presentation. Let's look at the details here. At the beginning of the unit, I divide the class into the groups. These groups have 4, 5 or 6 students. After dividing the class into the groups, then these groups choose one of these lexis, game, drama, video, and music groups. Is it clear here? Because this is the brain of the project. After choosing lexis, game, drama, music, and game group, then they will study. They will start to study for the activities. What our lexis group students do here? If your students choose lexis group, then we understand that they are interested in words, vocabulary. So they will study, they will play with the words here. They are expected to organize vocabulary activities, and these activities should be available to the language objectives of the unit. These activities should be related to unit work. Totally and normally we have 4 weeks for each unit, and this group, lexis group, is expected to organize vocabulary activities for each week. Is it clear? I hope it's clear. And if they want, they can use true-false matching activities, or they can use poems. They can play with the words. Yes, this is game group, and this is a small part of our presentation at school. As you see here, our students are playing a game about 7 units in 10th grade language class. So the basic, the important key point here is, as you see, authentic game. I want authentic game. I want my students to produce authentic, creative games. And the most important, one of the most important part is here, whole class participation. They aren't expected to play the game with just 2 or 3 students or with a few students. They should play the game as a whole, and this requires active participation. And also, if your students' speaking skill is good enough, if they are capable of language, if they have no problem with their speaking skills, then they can communicate with each other. They can understand each other, and they have no problem about language. Drama group here. This is again a small part of our presentation at school. As you see here, they are role-playing an activity, I'm sorry. They are role-playing an activity in front of their class, and they wear different costumes. They bring these costumes at home, and again here, creative thinking skills are important, and their speaking skills must be good enough to communicate with each other and to be understandable for everybody. And again, I want my students to write authentic plays, to produce authentic plays. I want them to produce something in English by creative thinking skills. And if your students are kinesthetic students here, then you can use drama groups because psychomotor activities are popular here.
Kimseye sarılın. Birkaç kişinin elini sıkı sıkı tut. Onların dertleriyle dertlen. Mutluluklarıyla konuş. Dediklerine kulak ver. Onları kaybetme. Her şey değiştiğinde senin en orijinal halini gösteren.
Again, music group. This group is very popular among the students because our students like listening to music, and if they want, they can write a song and they can sing a song, or if they want, they can cover a song, or they can translate a song from Turkish to English, but not from English to Turkish.
Dana, Gaziantep, Marvin, Alasin, Malatya. It is served with lettuce, leaves, and thin, and long pieces. It is consumed with open bread in an urfa, and with...
Here, as you see, our students used small pictures to create a video, and if they want, they can use animations again, or they may interview outside the school or inside the school, or they can record it. If they want, again, they can role play a drama in front of the class, or again record it and show it to their friends. Let's talk about the data analysis. I want to mention here these are 4 elements about assessment: peer assessment, teacher assessment, formative assessment, and summative assessment. After finishing the presentation, I gave my students peer evaluation form. At the end of the presentation, I will share it with you. I will give peer evaluation form, and they will evaluate and assess their students, their friends' performance. And after this peer assessment part, then it comes to teacher assessment part. Again, I have a teacher evaluation form. We have in each form, peer assessment and teacher assessment form, we have 10 criteria, and they are different from each other. After finishing this, as you know and as you apply, we apply our students' formative assessment, grammar and school-based exams here. And if you want, we may have small quizzes for checking up the unit outcomes. And here, you can use the observations via these checklists. And here, the summative assessment is the most important part of here. Because you see the student at the beginning of the process, you see the student and you assess the student in the middle of the process. And you see and assess your student at the end of the process. So, you can watch your students' performance. You can see the improvement of your students, and I will share some small evidences at the end of the presentation. What are the results? Yes, here I observe my students. My students observe each other, and we have some written feedbacks, and also I have field notes because I'm watching and taking small notes for while watching the presentation. Yes, what are the results? Your students are the active participants in language learning process. This is the most important part. They are learning the language with practicing inside the school or outside the school. Then they bring this learning process to the class. And they become, at the end of the process, they become self-aware students. Because we make reflective teaching here. We evaluate, we assess ourselves and our students' performance. And our students assess each other. So this is reflective practice, and maybe one of the most important part of the presentation. And you go beyond the traditional English language classroom. Your English class can be very different, interesting, enjoyable. Your students wanted to participate in the lesson. They want to produce something in English. They want to produce something different, creative. So active participation is, again, important. Here are the results. Here, on the left part, you see the grammar and skill-based exams. E-school screen here. And here, these are my students' project-based language learning assessment results. As you see, these grades are higher because your students are in the process of development of English. Thank you. Yes, your students learn to think creatively. Your students learn problem solving because if they come across a problem while organizing the activity or role-playing activity or creating or designing the way, they learn how to solve it. They learn sharing their backgrounds, ideas with each other. So this helps them to be active in language learning process. What are our suggestions and tips? You should determine your groups at the beginning of the process clearly. And you should teach your students what you want, what you expect, what are your outcomes at the end of the process. Everything should be clear and they should know what they will do in language learning process. And you should make peer assessment. You should use this because these written feedbacks are very important for direction of the process, for checking the process if there is a problem or not, if everything is good on the way or not, or feedback. This is a learner-centered method, and you develop your students' self-awareness with the help of this technique because you got regular feedback and you see the process and you make process assessment, not an oriental assessment. You don't use a traditional way for assessment. These are my data collection tools. This is a peer evaluation form, and this is teacher evaluation form. If your students got 50, and if your students got 50 from here, then they get 100. And this is the result of my project. Here, you see, let's look at the dates, time. October, January, and March. These are my field notes. These are my, I took these notes while watching their presentation. And at the beginning of the process here, the students have problems with fluency, classroom management, time management, everything. And in the middle of the process, still they have problem, but something is going better, but still they are not very good. And at the end of the process, they have no problem with time management, classroom management, fluency, accuracy, because you give feedback and you get feedback from them and you shape the process, language learning process with them while communicating with each other. And this is from my dearest student. And this is a small note if the project-based language learning works in our school. Thank you for listening and watching me. Thank you for your participation. I'm really for your Thank you. I'm very happy. Şimdi sizlere küçük bir kısmını izletmek istiyorum. Bu bizim drama projemizden minik bir örnek. Biraz uzun. Şimdi 7. ünitede farklı kültürleri çalıştılar öğrencilerimiz ve o farklı kültürlerle ilgili kendi hazırladıkları bir drama oyununun sunumunu izlettiler bize. Gördüğünüz gibi kıyafetleri, kullandıkları materyal, her şey kendilerine ait. En önemlisi oluşturdukları metin kendilerine ait. Bu noktada öğrencilerin dille ne kadar haşır neşir olduklarını, neyi ne kadar üretebildiklerini görüyoruz. İzin verirseniz izleyelim hep birlikte.
For international cooking contest, which will be held this year. Our competition category this year will be dessert. We have 3 different contestants from 3 different countries today. I would like to introduce our contestants to you. Zehra Gönül representing Turkey, Sakura Takashi representing Japan, Alice Rossi representing Italy. Can you introduce yourself to us, please, Mrs. Zehra?
Yes, I can. Hello, everyone. My name is Zehra Gönül. I'm 28 years old. I'm a gastronomy expert. I have been in this business for like 6 years, and I will prepare baklava, which a traditional Turkish dessert which represents our country today. Baklava is one of the most popular desserts of the Turkish cuisine. Is indispensable for festive tables, of course. Gaziantep is the homeland of our world famous dessert, which the eater cannot give up. In the festival ceremonies and celebrations that can be considered special, there is always a place on the tables, of course.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Alexi, can you introduce yourself to us, please?
Hi everyone, my name is Alice Rossi. I am 30 years old, I am a chef. I have been in the kitchen for about 5 years. I will prepare the tiramisu, the traditional of my country today. That's why it is considered a dessert. That brings joy to people. I hope I manage to pull you along with my sweet.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Sakura, can you introduce yourself to us, please?
Hi everyone, my name is Sakura. I am 26 years old. I am a cooker. I have been doing this job for 4 years. I am going to make mochi, our effortless and lively traditional dessert that is not missing from the tables for Christmas. I hope you will like it.
Okay, thank you. My mouth is watered. I want to enter the competition as soon as possible. You have exactly 60 minutes for dessert. Good luck to all of you. Okay. Ten seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Your time is up. Okay, now, after our juries have tested, the winner will be determined according to the vote point. Okay. Okay, I'm listening to you. Yes, we got the result now. Are you excited?
Yes.
I will explain the winner result. The winner, Zehra Gönül.
Proud to represent my country on such a platform. Congratulations to my competitor friends, of course. They did the best they could, I think. As for the word, it has been seen that every nation with international field.
Yes, this is an example of our drama